Well, I guess it's good evening and good afternoon in other places, because in California, we're always way behind what's going on with everybody else. So I hope everybody had a good weekend. Welcome back. And as always, my Patreons chose the subjects that we are looking at today, and I don't take requests anywhere else except for Patreon. So if you want to join us, go to patreon.com/psychicbellalove, or it will be in the pinned comments as well as the description box and anywhere else that you can find me and follow me at. And if you want to book your own personal and private reading, psychicbellalove.com. So how is everybody doing? It's Taco Tuesday, the best day, right? Hey Pink Rabbit, hey Can. Hi Preston, hi Plictel, hey Mimi, hi Madeline, hi Ronne. How are you guys? And somebody else said something, and my pinned comment is blocking me from seeing all of it, but I get the gist of what they were saying. Basically, number one, if you guys want to know what type of a person that Kenny really is, I've done readings separately on Kenny, so you can go look those up. But we are not Kenny petty haters over here by any means. And we only discuss Nikki over on Patreon at the moment because, as we see, and as I've been telling you guys, the duds have been plotting and planning on her, so we're not going to feed them any information right now. We had a live about Nikki last night, so we're just going to talk about what's going on with the horse's, career and things going forwards, because she has that new distribution deal, and she was on Good Morning America, I guess, this morning. So they've really been trying to find some way somehow to make this girl, get back on top again. So we'll take a look at that. And so many nasty YouTubers who have exposed themselves. Oh, I have no idea what happened. Hey, Jasmine. I'm good. Thank you. Hey, Can. Hey, Kala. So, tacos are the universal signal for joy. Yes, they are. They are. But, I was just trying to keep up with and understand everything that was going on with the Nikki and Megan situation, because it just kind of blew up out of nowhere. And then just, and every time I got on anywhere, it was like, oh, well, something happened on TikTok, and now something else happened on Twitter, and now something's going on Station Head. And I was just like, so I missed any YouTube drama that was going on, because I was just trying to keep up with all of that so we could do our live last night that we did over on Patreon about Nikki. So, so many people saying they've been paid, or saying they only jumped on the hate bandwagon because it was popular. Wait, so people are coming out and admitting that they were a part of the hate train because they were getting paid, or because it was getting them clicks and views? Is that what you're saying? The thumbnail is insane. I can't stop looking at the foot. Oh my God. You know what's so funny is that the picture of her in a fucking foot just popped up when I put her name into Google Images to make the thumbnail, and I was trying to look for a picture of her. And so I was like, well, everybody's talking about her foot right now, so we'll just use this. So that's so crazy. I mean, we just literally talked about that a couple weeks ago on here that, this is if you choose to be a content creator and you choose to talk about celebrities and public figures and artists and you choose to favor one over the other, like, that's your choice that you made as a creator. So you have to live with that shit, because then when you start going and pussy popping on a fucking handstand backwards, because now the narrative is changed. Right next to my modem, so I don't know why it's doing that, but have you guys been noticing things have been so freaking glitchy lately, like the past week? Like, worse than Mercury retrograde, because yesterday, like, I got a delivery from GoPuff, and because, like, they sell cigarettes and alcohol and stuff, like, and I bought loose tobacco for my altars, they had to check my ID. That their system was like glitching out for the delivery person, so she couldn't give me my order until like the thing would go through that she verified that I was 18. I was just like, can you just take the fucking tobacco out and just give me the other shit so you can go? Like, I could order it another time. And it's just like, there's been so many like, I couldn't get anything to post on Patreon the other day. I was just like, what in the hell is happening? Like, things have been so freaking glitchy. And then the Walmart site was being glitchy when I was trying to order cat food. And I was just like, I went back and I was like, no, we should even be out of the shadow period from Mercury retrograde at this point. So there's something else going on, because things have just been so like weird with tech stuff lately. And then I also saw people complaining that like Google was fucked up yesterday too. So but let me see what you guys were saying in the comments. Yeah, but anyways, it's just showing that you don't have any backbone and that you'll just fly with the winds. Like, I can't stand people that do stuff like that. Like, I've unfollowed so many content creators because they completely flip-flopped, like, oh, you could tell like Carlos invited them to her birthday party, and then all of a sudden they're shading Nikki and Carlos is the best thing that ever happened in life. And I just, and maybe they weren't even a channel that really like fully talked about like the Carlos and Nikki type of stuff like all the time, but it just showed me like you don't have any fucking integrity and you got bought out for like a birthday party invite. So now I don't want to watch any of your content, even if it is on other topics that I would be interested in and it has nothing to do with these two, because now I feel like I can't trust your opinion on what you have to share. And next week you might say something completely fucking different. But then on top of it, so many of these people that like got bought out or influenced to go one way or another, all of a sudden they're, acting super entitled and then having shit fits because they didn't get to do an interview with somebody, or they didn't get a front row ticket, or they didn't get paid to do something. And it's like, just because you pick somebody's side doesn't mean they owe you something. Like, I mean, a lot of this shit where I see people like throwing a fit, like, oh, well, I've been backing Nikki from the beginning, so she should be, wanting to sit down and do an interview with me on YouTube for Pink Friday too. It's like, why do you even think Nikki needs to know who you are, much less that she owes you some sort of sit-down interview? Like, I defend Kanye all the time. I don't expect that he needs to know who the fuck I am, although I know he does. But, I don't expect Kanye needs to know who I am and invite me to shit and send me fucking Yeezy pods and stuff like that, just because I'm the first person that, you know, is always like, okay, let's just take a step back and try to understand where he's coming from. There's got to be a reason why he said this. So, you know, you benefited and you got the fucking views because you used a fan base by talking about their favorite artist. Like, that was your reward for standing up for this person. What more do you need? Like, it's just so stupid how people act. And that goes for everybody. I'm not just talking about YouTubers. I mean, I see like tons of bloggers do it. I even see fans do it. You know, they make a fan page for one person and then suddenly decide that they want to go start supporting a different artist instead because they think that that's going to blow up their fan page or whatever. So it's pretty pathetic that Carlos has to pay blogs and YouTubers. Rot Nation too. It's truly pathetic. Exactly, because I mean, this is the thing. People act like that Rot Nation brunch is just the end all be all of like the fucking world. And then you have people like Bacon Flea running around, literally running around, sweating like a fucking hog, trying to get pictures with all the celebrities there. And it's like, how exclusive and fancy is that really? Because let's just keep in mind, guys, and this is what's so funny, and I was just thinking about this earlier, how like social media has like scammed people so hard in a way that I think people don't realize. And listen, I'm a part of the problem too, so I'm not like shitting on it. I actually think it's hilarious. I don't know if you guys remember a few years ago, I think it was like Jennifer Aniston even, like made some snit-fitty comment about how like YouTubers and social media people were being allowed to go to like red carpet events and acting like they didn't have any talent and they didn't really work that hard and they didn't deserve to like have the same spots within the entertainment industry as like legitimate actors and singers and shit like she apparently thought she was a part of, right? Perez Hilton and Wendy Williams never would have been fucking invited to any industry event ever. They were pariahs. And if, say, for instance, Martha Stewart had thrown a big private birthday party for herself and had the likes of Oprah and, you know, all the big celebrity names at the time, because we'll say that this took place in the early 2000s. And then Perez Hilton showed up. Do you know the scandal that would have caused? How dare Martha expose all of her celebrity friends to this monster that says all these horrible shit about them all the time? And they would literally be acting like, you know, she invited an actual wild animal to the party and let it loose and let it attack all of her guests. Like they were getting chased by a fucking tiger or something all night. But now, all of a sudden, when you watch the Met Gala, it's nothing but fucking TikTokers and YouTubers on the red carpet. And the Kardashians have, you know, they were sort of that middle ground with the reality show and all of their antics on social media that sort of, you know, they started getting invited to more mainstream places. So then it became a little bit more normalized to then start inviting social media people to stuff. But just the fact, you know, that it's like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that would have been so unheard of. And now we've got Bacon Flea at a Rot Nation event, and that's supposed to be like the most like prestigious thing that you can get an invite to. But yet they have literal YouTubers and Instagram bloggers running around. Right? So it just goes to show you, like, how we've all kind of carved a path and made some importance for ourselves, that they do take us seriously. Because think about it too, like, the fact that you have academics can say something like, I don't like a song, or I don't like that record, and then the next thing you know, you have people of the likes of Drake and Diddy telling him to shut the fuck up. So, you know, it's just, I just find it very interesting how things have changed so much. But I will give you guys this little snippet of tea. Expect that a lot of bloggers are going to get sued this year. Because, you know, it's not just Tasha. Tasha was kind of the first, or the trendsetter of it, but there's like a ton of rumors all over Lipstick Alley and Reddit. I don't go on Lipstick Alley. That site just confuses me and it's too stressful, but I'm on Reddit. But I saw somebody else say on Lipstick Alley, it was also going around the same things, that like, not only are several celebrities gonna sue several like kind of bigger name platforms, but also that they're like looking at joining class action lawsuits. Like, oh, you're gonna get sued by Robert Downey Jr., Kevin Hart, and The Rock because you were talking some mad shit. So, you know, the people that Nicki's had problems with most recently are people whose names have been floating around in the rumor mill of who's gonna get sued next. And including, you know, Crazy Days and Nights, the NT lawyer dude. So that's why I hope Nicki will just, you know, have some conversations with some other celebrities and have your lawyers talk to each other. That's all I'm gonna say. And Bacon Flea will be one of those people, according to the rumors, who's going to be getting sued next. And Spirit keeps saying, like, he's got something coming to get him. So, oh, exactly, Plickdal. You know, it's just the crazy thing, you know, Oprah is one of those people that we can use an example of this, where you're saying that there's been a lot of warnings and, you know, the exposers went full throttle while others, you know, are watching other people go down for basically the same shit that they've been involved in. And, you know, also it's like, why don't people question the fact that somebody like Oprah, for instance, she's had so many friends that have been exposed for being really horrible, disgusting, depraved predators and monsters, from Epstein and Weinstein and the John of God dude. You know, she promoted Dr. Phil, who had that whole connection to that ranch that's basically, you know, the same thing that like Paris Hilton obviously exposed that she went through. Dr. Oz, he was always out there shilling for snake oil. Like, she always surrounds herself with the most like horrible people, and then when shit blows up, she tries to distance herself. You know, it's like, oh, I didn't know. I had no idea that this was going on. Oh my God. What? And if you haven't noticed, guys, there's a kind of a pattern with certain things, that when people are getting exposed or threatened to be exposed, all of a sudden it's, let's rehash things that happened with Michael Jackson 35 years ago. So it was very convenient that Oprah wanted to run that Leaving Neverland documentary when Weinstein was being exposed. And then when people were saying that she was connected to Epstein and she had all this Hawaii stuff going on, all of a sudden they make a big deal about that somebody said that Michael Jackson was seen near Epstein one time, and now they're allowing those people to sue his estate again. Michael Jackson just seems to be the most convenient little, you know, news story that they can run every single time that Oprah needs to take the heat off of herself or the people around her. And you just have to wonder, you know, it's like all these people that hang out with, you know, these monsters, but then we haven't gotten any supposed tea on them. But it's like, why were you hanging out with a monster if you're not like them? You know, my grandpa always said, like, if you don't do crack, you don't hang out with people who smoke crack. Because what the fuck do you have in common with them? What are you going to do with them? Sit there and watch them freak out and then hold on to your purse? Like, so it's the same thing when it comes to these people. It's like, you're hanging out with all these monsters, but you're supposedly not like them. Like, no, I hang out with people who are like me and that are into the same things as me and have the same values and morals and hobbies and interests as me. And that usually goes for everybody in life. Just saying. Dude, Oprah got all them white middle class stay-at-home moms to just somehow think that she was the greatest gift on earth. She must have done some real powerful glamour spells to make that happen. Oh, karma always gets them. Even if it has to loop back and destroy them in memoriam, you know, because how many people have we learned about even 100 years after they are no longer here, all these monstrous things that they were supposedly involved in? It always comes back to bite them in the ass. Remember, Satan might loan you things, but he'll never let you keep them. And when he comes back to collect, he will always take back everything he gave you and more and leave you destitute. So, well, exactly, Hannah. But also, Diddlebop pissed off them liquor people, and that's where he fucked up. Because when you start playing with people's money and their ability to make money, that's when all of the we don't give a shit who you've been protecting or what you've done or who's protecting you. You're gonna pay, motherfucker, like energy comes out. So, anyways, speaking of satanic witchcrafty people, so Tina Knowles was caught liking shady tweets about Janet Jackson, and then of course, you know, talking about people pussy popping on a handstand. Tried to make it, I didn't do that on purpose, and I know likes are visible, why would I do that, and tried to gaslight everybody. And listen, I can attest that there's sometimes where you're just literally like scrolling, especially if you're trying to like hit see more, you know, in a comment thread, that sometimes Instagram will accidentally like assign a like to something and you weren't trying to like it. You were just trying to hit see more comments. And then you have to go back and be like, unlike, because I don't know what that person even said. I'm not trying to co-sign it. But that's a very once in a while thing that happens, number one. And number two, that would be if that happened on a page about people's cats and it was a fight because somebody said tabby cats are better than rag dolls and she accidentally liked a comment that said tabby cats suck, then I would believe you. But when it's other musicians and artists, bitch, please. Because I just felt like, oh, she was sitting there reading these tweets, cackling in her little witch laugh, and didn't realize that she accidentally liked it because she was laughing so hard. So let's see. I want to see what the cards have to say. And if you guys have questions about this, put them in the comments. Put question in front of it so it doesn't get lost with the comments. Tina needs to find something to do with her time. Hey, listen. Maybe what Tina needs to do is get back in front of her altar and light some more candles, because the streets are saying that her son-in-law doesn't live in the same house as her daughter. So she's got other problems that she should be a little more focused on. See, this is what's so funny is it's already coming up as, okay, wasn't, just remind me, because again, there's been so much drama going on the past few days that I just want to make sure I have this abundantly clear. The tweets that she liked were about how Janet has some audacity to charge as much as she does for her tickets when Beyonce charges less and gives you more, right? That's what it was basically saying, like, oh, Janet's out there charging and she barely gives you anything for half the time that Beyonce's concert is. Okay. Because the reason why I just wanted to make sure is because the underlying energy, we've got the Judgment, the World card, and the Ace of Pentacles. And Tina, you know, is so, oh, ha, 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 look, my daughter got declared a billionaire from this tour, which, again, guys, you want to talk about convenient timing. I even said in Patreon, my patrons can confirm this, when they came out and said that Taylor Swift was going to clear $1 billion and become a billionaire off of her tour, I straight up said, now watch and wait, they're going to say the same thing about Beyonce soon. Because if you didn't realize the competition that was going on between those two tours and who's going to sell out faster, who's going to have better press, who's going to get more of their audience to dress up, who's going to, you know, get better reviews, who's going to clear more revenue. So, you know, just because they took pictures together, that's what Hollywood is all about. They're all frenemies. They all see each other as competition. It's like, yeah, me and you can be cool, but then I'm going to see you at some audition for some fucking movie I really want. And if you get it, I'm going to fucking hate you, you bitch. So, you know, but we'll smile when the cameras are around and act like we're just such good friends. And so Spirit saying, you know, Tina was writing on this like high of like, oh, look, my daughter had this hugely grossing tour and she really wanted Beyonce's tour to be the #1 tour, you know, as far as gross of all time. And so just the idea that somebody's out here selling these super expensive tickets and are gonna put them, what do you call, you know, put them on sale and sell them out and maybe make more money than Beyonce. It's like, fuck that. She doesn't like that. I mean, let's be honest. Spirit saying Tina very much thinks, she just sees every other female in the industry, whether it's in acting, music, influencers, whatever, as some sort of competition to her daughter. And she only wants her daughter to be #1. So trust and believe she hates Rihanna too. Everybody is beneath her kids, you know, but she'll smile and pretend like she likes everybody and plays the game because she knows that #1, they might want to use that person because somehow it'll benefit her daughter someday. The same way that, you know, how when Beyonce wanted to break the record for the Grammys, all of a sudden it was like, let's get Megan a Grammy. And let's put Beyonce on Megan's song and then get her a Grammy through that. So that way she can bridge that gap and be the most nominated or whatever it was record that she broke, right? So, do you think that if Beyonce didn't think that she was gonna get a Grammy out of that, that she would have fucking worked with Megan Thee Stallion? People forget Megan Thee Stallion is not the only artist that Jay-Z represents or manages. So if Beyonce was really going to start being out here doing charity features for her husband's artists, we would have seen that been done. It was 100% because it was like, oh, I'm going to benefit off of this. So I'll very begrudgingly do it. But it was only because it was benefiting Beyonce, not because anybody gave two fucks about Megan Thee Stallion. And so that's the only reason why Tina, you ever see her pretending to be nice to any of these girls when you do see them around her, is just because they think that they have to go and kiss up to Tina. And Tina is just like keeping an eye out. Who do we need to keep an eye out for? Who might be that person that they're going to suddenly start saying, oh, here's Beyonce's replacement. And so it really is that, oh, I'm going to pretend to be nice so that way I can get rid of you or take you down if I need to later. And so she definitely sees Janet Jackson as some sort of competition to her daughter and does not like it. There are spirits saying there are 3 girls that Tina Knowles actually gives a fuck about. Beyonce first and foremost, and then after that, Kelly and Solange. And they still, you know, are at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to who Tina's gonna, you know, be out there fighting and trying to protect and trying to help. So, I mean, I told you guys before, Beyonce signs Chloe and Halle not because she really truly thinks that they're like the greatest artists and wanting to really develop them and invest in them the way that like Wayne signed his artists. Because Wayne saw the potential of these are all great individuals, whether it was Drake, whether it was Tyga, whether it was Nicki or any of the other Young Money artists that he had, Lloyd. And he knew that if he poured into them, they would become bigger stars. And look at how much it benefited Wayne when Nicki and Drake blew up because he was eating off of them too, right? And then by them doing all of the crossovers that they were constantly doing where Wayne would put them on his song or he would put them on that song, that was all benefiting everybody so much because Wayne saw the bigger picture. Beyonce wasn't doing this because it was a business move and because she saw the bigger picture like Lil Wayne. It's because she knew these are going to be the 2 girls that the industry is going to set up to be my replacements. And the only person that I'm about to let be my replacement is my own daughter. So therefore, by signing them, I can make sure that they're not going to surpass me, my daughter, or be set up to be any sort of replacement. Why do you think that they didn't really fucking guide Chloe that well through her debut album? Because they didn't really give a fuck about it being successful or not. I mean, it's sad to say. So, but if you guys have any questions about Tina and Janet Jackson, I'll take them. Otherwise, we'll move on. Someone said she uses them as channelers and that Chloe and Halle has some kind of power in witchcraft. Not sure if it's true. I don't feel like she's doing it because of that. I think it's just that, think about it too. Beyonce has gotten away with not showing up for the girls because she sends her mom in her place. Like, we've seen Tina around these girls way more than we've seen Beyonce around them, but Beyonce is supposed to be their mentor and they're, the person that signs them, yet we see them with their mentor's mom. But then people are just like, oh, well, Tina was there. And they don't think about, but that's kind of weird and it doesn't make sense. Because think about if Lil Wayne sent his mom to go make sure that Drake was good in the studio, people would be like, why is he sending his mom and why isn't he doing it himself? But that's the distraction, right? And they just are like, oh, Mama Tina's there just being a mommy to them. So, listen, Spirit saying, Janet, if anybody in this industry is wise to the ways of this industry, it's Janet motherfucking Jackson. Because she's been in it longer than any of these other people have even been alive, right? Like, Beyonce wasn't even born yet, even going by her real age, when Janet was performing on TV already. No family has been attacked or gone through more industry bullshit than the Jacksons. So Janet is very aware of, how people move and that she needs to be careful with the way that, people can be in this industry and kind of watch her back. And I also get that she's very adept at spotting when people are two-faced anyway, is the Spirit saying. Like, she's just always been able to tell that Beyonce and her mom have that same kind of thirst in them that like Kim and Chris have, where it's like, we just have to get to the top and we're willing to put in the work and befriend and hang out with and make connections with and turn on people and do whatever we need to do to get there. It's like Janet smelled that on them a million miles away from the get-go. And I also, Spirit is saying, she doesn't really appreciate the way that people constantly try to compare Beyonce to her brother, because she feels like her brother was her brother and nobody's ever gonna be Michael. Like, there's nobody that's ever gonna be another Michael Jackson. And then hold the questions, guys. After I finish these, we'll move on. Because of that, so it's just like, just let it be. And why are you always trying to compare yourself to him? Because you guys are so not the same. So it's like, that pisses her off, but Spirit saying it pisses her off like when they do it with anybody, just in general. And she knows obviously how much her brother would have not liked that either. But Spirit saying that she's just never been the biggest fan of Beyonce or Tina, and she felt like the whole thing was just bullshit and a bullshit apology. But Janet is classy, so if she sees them in person, she'll smile and take a picture and be like, it's all love, no beef, just because, like, Janet is so exhausted by the industry, you guys. Spirit said it's like she's around and she does what she needs to do because she just wants to still be able to, like, perform for her fans. And she does have, like, certain people that she does like to hang out with that really are her friends. But it's like, as far as like the industry itself and the perceptions and the PR and all of that kind of stuff, like, she's just like, oh my God, like, it's too much. Like, I don't want to play these games. I'm so over this crap. Like, can't I just be excused from this narrative, basically. So, and that's why she doesn't talk more, because she doesn't want to get pulled into that stuff, because she hates it. But anyways, guys. Oh, they tried to do that shit with Taylor Swift too, because I've seen it being said from both sides that Taylor Swift has the Michael Jackson level of fame, and then they say that Beyonce does, and it's like, as I've said a million times, until you have to have the military come and shut down the fucking airports and all the freeways and everywhere around you because people are so obsessed with you that they have swarmed everywhere that they think that you are going to be when you visit their country. You're not Michael Jackson. You don't have his level of fame. You're just not there. So hopefully my voice makes it through the rest of this live. I was recording videos for clients and talking to clients all day long and doing lives yesterday, so my voice is kind of raggedy this morning. And it will not Beyonce or Taylor. Beyonce's able, I mean, this is the thing. I know that, you know, because Beyonce does her little like photo shoot things that she does where if she knows that she's going to go out somewhere in public and there's a possibility that paparazzi are going to get pictures of her, she does a photo shoot at home, photoshops it, and posts it herself first so that those pictures get picked up and posted by the blogs and news outlets. And that way the paparazzi don't have as much of a vested interest in even trying to take pictures of her because nobody's going to sell them if they already got them for free off of Beyonce's Instagram. So the fact that she can do that and then still go out and not get any paparazzi pictures taken of herself, Michael wouldn't have been able to do that. So she's not Michael Jackson. Oh, they've been trying to push her on the same level as Michael for years. It's not going to work. They also tried to do it with Tina Turner and Whitney Houston and Madonna as well, and it's still not going to work. But this is the thing, too, that I always say when it comes to any of these people. Why would you want to attach yourself to somebody else? Because then you're going to be forced to live in that person's shadow. Like, if I was a singer, I wouldn't want everybody, like, if say I was just 20 years old and just coming out and I have this amazing voice, I would not want people to start calling me Ariana Grande's replacement and comparing me to her and trying to attach me to her, because I want to make my own lane and I want to stand out as my own artist, not as Ariana Grande's copycat, and then every fucking thing that she or I do is going to be compared against each other forever, and I never get to stand alone on my own 2 feet, on my own accomplishments. And that's where I think so many of these artists have themselves so fucked up, because it's like, oh, well, I want to call myself beefing with Nicki Minaj. That doesn't really help people in the long run. And then you just get called a flop for everything that you do that isn't a diss towards Nicki after that. Like, I want to, go align myself and say that I'm part of the Regina George girls group, cough, cough, Renee Rapp and Megan Thee Stallion. Megan's barely hanging on by a fucking thread right now, Renee. And again, I've said this over in Patreon when it comes to Megan. They tied her because they wanted to capitalize off of the sympathy points that they thought that they were going to get from the Tory situation. And regardless of whether you think he did it or he didn't, Megan now can't move without that situation not being brought up. So every single thing that Tory does for the rest of his fucking life is somehow going to affect Megan. She's always going to be tied to that situation. And if he gets out early for any single reason, even if it's the guard took Tory's shoe and slapped him across the face and people were so disgusted by it that they said, let him out of prison now. And that had nothing to do with Megan. People are still going to be like, Tory got out of jail because Megan lied. And then Megan's going to face the hate and the backlash all over again. And for somebody like Renee, why are you tying yourself to somebody that's barely hanging on and trying to rebrand themselves? You should be establishing yourself separately from all of that because nobody really even knows who the fuck you are right now. And this isn't going to help you, girl. So, exactly, because Normani at least understood that she wanted to be her own person, not be, oh, look it, here's a little Beyonce copycat. So, and exactly, because now Megan's whole entire narrative thrives on Tory being silent. And, guys, because we were talking about this on Patreon, too, there's rumors on the Kanye pages that Kanye and Tory made an album together before Tory's trial, and it was supposed to be like a surprise celebration drop if he beat his case. And so now they're waiting to see if he does get like his conviction overturned on appeal, then they'll release it to celebrate that, right? This is the thing, you guys, that like we forgot when we were talking about this whole situation, if that's true, is this is Kanye, okay? Because we were saying like Kanye and Tory are both really good producers, so like that's gonna be like fucking fire, and it will have like probably some of the greatest production on that album actually between the two of them, if that's true, and I hope to God it's true. But I know for sure that they at least have a couple songs. I don't know about the whole album. But it's Kanye. What does Kanye always push people to do? Say some real shit and tell the truth, right? So imagine, especially because they were recording this album in anticipation of Tory winning. I want to know what the fuck those songs have to say. Because and this was going on during Kanye's Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil era, when he was talking about people's parents getting sacrificed for their careers. Cough again, Megan. So, can you imagine the truths that were told in those bars? I'm just like, oh my God, Kanye, just do us all a favor and leak the songs. I don't want to mess up anybody's rollout, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm dying to know, like, what did they say? Because I'm sure that they dragged a bitch. So they talk about those scary feet. All right. So right now, Megan is projected that Hiss is going to go number 2 because this is why I said Nicki shouldn't have responded yet, because if she hadn't, this fucking song would have hit 84 and then fell right off the charts next week. And Nicki should have gave it 2 or 3 weeks so that it could completely flop and then drop your response. And then that obviously blew up and Nicki's getting number 1s out of it. But it still just benefited Megan because she responded too fast. Let it die and then come back and respond, because then you can also laugh at her about how her fucking diss track flopped. So we're going to see beyond this, because obviously she's having her little moment right now. But beyond this moment, because you can have a viral moment and then never pop again. We've seen it happen. Hello, music is full of one-hit wonders, right? So we're gonna see after after this what is going on going forwards with Megan Thee Stallion's career. What can we expect to see going forwards with Megan Thee Stallion's career? The tour will flop and will speak volumes. Well, regardless, she's not going to be able to do very big venues. She doesn't have that big of a fan base. So, and she's probably going to, I guarantee you, have 85 fucking headliners. They'll pick whoever is going viral on TikTok at the moment to headline for her, hoping that, you know, if they have 20 people that are sort of being, you know, talked about and stuff right now, that'll draw some interest, but it's not gonna do great. Because didn't they have to give out free tickets to some other show that she did a while back? Because, like, people didn't actually end up showing up the way that they were expecting them to or something. I remember something like that. People gas her up as if her music is great. Well, that's why I tell you guys, you can't pay attention to social media. Because if you would have taken the shit that was being said about Nicki and Bigfoot seriously, you would have thought that that song just was the biggest flop. But yet, look at all of the news today, and it's #1 on like every fucking platform and broke all these records. So it's like, you know, same thing every time that Karen, the mistress that fell on the floor and can't get back up, does anything. It's like, oh my God, yay, Lotto. And then she releases a song with Jennifer fucking Lopez of all people, and they got 1,800 streams the first day on one of the platforms. And it's absolutely struggling. And that's the funniest thing, which I'm just like, we were talking about this last night. If Nicki had done a song with J-Lo, it doesn't matter that everybody saw her and Mariah have their beef on American Idol. The fact that at one point Nicki did a song with Mariah Carey, people would come back and be like, look at what a fucking monster and a fucking flip-flopper that Nicki is, because she went and did a song with J-Lo, even though she worked with Mariah before, and everybody knows that Mariah and J-Lo don't like each other, right? Nobody's bringing that up about Lotto, that 2 years apart, you work with Mariah and then her nemesis. But, honey, maybe we need to talk about that Mariah voodoo, because nobody paid any attention to this song. So, you know, but, and you would think, because we were saying that must have been a strong, big slice of humble pie that the universe gave to those two, because both of them think that they're so special. Really, when you think about it, J-Lo and Lotto both act like they're like super mega stars. And the fact that nobody gave a fuck about their stupid little song together, it's just actually really hilarious. But again, you see people constantly hyping Lotto up, and she believes it, so that's why she keeps coming back and giving us more garbage. Same thing with Coi Leray. People will tell people anything. Doesn't mean it's true. All these people should have went this hard for Tina for every song drop, right? Look at how they tried to gas up and explode thought shit. J-Lo doesn't like anyone. Fake it until you make it, or until you flop and get humbled, right? So, whew. this is what's funny is that it's like the way that Spirit's talking about it, it's a very momentary, very small gain, you know, that Megan has gotten from this diss track, because obviously, again, none of these algorithms are going to register whether you're listening to or viewing anything because you truly enjoy it or because you're hate watching it, right? So the thing is that yes, a lot of people went to go listen to Hiss, but Spirit saying, you know, we have to remember most of the people that went to go listen to that were just trying to see what was said. Why is Nikki mad? Not because they were originally invested in, yay, Megan dropped a song and I want to listen to it. It was everybody's saying that she dissed Nikki and she dragged people, so we want to go listen and see like what she had to say. And then people that didn't even care up until that point only then went and listened later on because it was like, okay, well, Nikki's pissed. Why is Nikki pissed? So but are those going to be return listens? No. Are people really going to add this to their playlist and keep listening to it repeatedly? No. So it's like, enjoy the way that Spirit's saying it. Enjoy the attention this week. That's literally what Spirit said. Enjoy the attention this week. I swear, Spirit be more petty than me. I love it. Also, she needs to be really, 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 really careful right now. Oh, I'm not saying Lotto's blacklisted. I'm talking about Megan right now. But what do you call? She needs to be very careful because there's something that she has lied about that if the truth comes out, she completely loses public support. And Spirit is saying this is nothing to do with the Tory situation. Oh, okay, Plictel. I was like, sorry, I just looked down and saw you say is Lotto blacklisted, so I thought you were talking to me. Sorry, babe. And this honestly feels like I know exactly what it is, and I'm trying to think of how do I say it in a nicer way. And do I really want to say it? There's a lot of lies that she's told around her relationship with her mother. And then again, this doesn't have anything to do with that she supposedly fucked T. Ferris or not. It's more about the behavior that she had with her mother and how good their relationship was or was not. Because Spirit is saying that there are some people in Megan's inner circle who feel like she was a downright absolute horrible garbage of a human being towards her mother at the end, knowing that her mother was sick but still being a wretched bitch to her. And I know she's tried to portray like my mama was my best friend and she was my manager and this and that. Spirit saying if Holly had lived, her and Megan would be in the same position that Beyonce was in with Matthew, or that Lotto's currently in with her dad, where it's like you may have started off managing your child, but then Hollywood came and scooped them up and that child turns on you and doesn't talk to you anymore. Like that's exactly where things were headed between them. already. And then Spirit saying, you know, it's like at the end, you know, your mom is sick. And instead of just being like, I probably don't have that much time with her, even if she does get through this. This is a really rough time for her. Let me be kinder, or let's try to make amends. It was, I'm going to be the most horrible that I've ever been towards you in the entirety of either of our lives. Like, and there's people, because it's talking about family, that would be the ones that would come out and expose this. But we've got the Ace of Cups in reverse. And so it's like, you lost a lot of public support, and Spirit saying it's talking about that only giving credence to all of the other complaints that people have had about her. Like, oh, if you were being mean to your dying mom, then of course you fucking lied and you didn't get shot in the hooves and you lied on Tori, you know, or of course you screwed Bluetooth, or of course you did all these other negative things that people have said that you did. So she needs to be careful with that. Like, if somebody comes and wants you to pay them to shut the fuck up, Megan, pay them, because otherwise this gets out, you're done. But it feels like it's gonna come out anyways. We've got the Six of Wands in reverse as for her, like, final outcome card. It's still Spirit saying it's just like, again, enjoy your attention this week. Like, after this, unless you want to keep making 157 diss tracks towards Nikki and she keeps falling for it and responding, like, nobody's going to give two shits about any of the other music that she has to drop. They're not going to, you know, give her this sold out stadium tour because she just doesn't have the fan base to accommodate that. So Spirit saying, don't be surprised if this tour is like 6 shows. Like, you know, or ends up getting canceled and they'll make up excuses like, oh, it was raining, we had to cancel the show, but we'll reschedule, but then they never plan on rescheduling. Also, don't be surprised if she doesn't also try to copy Nikki and roll some festival dates into the tour and call it her tour. Like, I did 3 actual real concerts, and the other 5 things that I showed up to were scheduled festival appearances anyways, but my team called it a tour. There's some other shit that's she's got a lot of scandals and a lot of battles to fight this year overall, because there is gonna be progress as far as Tori's case goes. And again, what were we just talking about? Every time that anything happens with Tori, it gets rehashed all over again that Megan's a liar and put him in jail and he doesn't deserve to be there. So it feels like right as her little tour is supposed to pop off, that's when we get some positive movement with Tori and his situation. So that puts a damper on things for her. And I feel her being very upset about that, because it's like, we didn't think that the courts were actually going to move on this. We thought we had this locked down. Because it's talking about, we thought we paid the right people. We thought we threatened the right people. We thought we had the right people in place. Why aren't they doing what we wanted them to do? And how is it that he's now gonna, you know, have this opportunity to move things along? Because it feels like his paperwork moves to like a higher court. You know, like, okay, your appeal, the beginning part of your appeal, like, is accepted, and now we're gonna shuffle it along up the court system. And then they decide, you know, if they're gonna open up the case at that level. That's gonna really fuck with things for her, and it's really gonna scare her. She needs to be very careful about substances. You know, the Four of Cups tends to be like the card of alcohol consumption. And there's a lot of whenever she gets nervous, whenever she gets stressed out, whenever she's paranoid, you know, it's very easy to start pouring the liquor down your throat to try to, you know, forget about things. But that is a very self-sabotaging move. And I also feel like there is a possibility in the next coming years for her to find herself in a Tiffany Haddish sort of situation too, if she isn't careful with that. It's also going to cause problems for her career-wise as well, because she gets aggressive, she gets loose-lipped, she puts herself in situations, and, you know, she's already got a reputation for lying and getting people in trouble and all of this kind of stuff. And so it's like, you know, the way that Spirit's talking about it, like if you're at an industry party, say Doja has a birthday party, right? And here comes Megan and she's drunk off her fucking ass. And you care about your career, you're probably going to stay the hell away from her and want to leave the party early or avoid being seen near her or around her at all costs just to protect yourself, right? And so Spirit's saying she's already teetering on that when it comes to her industry peers. And so if she has another moment like she did at Carlos's birthday where she got drunk and wanted to fight Kylie and had to get booted out, then she's really going to be persona non grata, like when it comes to industry events, and she's going to have a hard time finding people that want to hang out with her or be around her or work with her or have their name semi-attached to her. So let's see, Spirit, is her next album going to do well, and what do we need to know about this deal with Warner? Thank you. Okay, so first things first, Spirit saying that Warner contract that she signed, it's more than just a distribution deal. It's not a full on like record deal though, like in the sense of either a Nicki type of a deal or even a 360, but it's like some kind of hybrid in between thing where she doesn't really have the control that she would claim that she has as a independent artist, but Spirit saying it puts them, meaning Warner, in an advantageous position that should they get sold or should they have to consolidate things, they can easily pull themselves out of a contract with Megan, on top of we don't have to truly invest very much into her and take a risk with her either. But Spirit saying this is just like that Popeyes deal where Megan is too stupid to realize that this isn't working in her benefit. Because remember that whole thing of, I own a Popeyes now, you guys. She owned like a half of a percentage of a single franchise of a location that I've heard that has since gone out of business. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but that's what somebody told me. So, and you know, that whole, we got you a percentage of a franchise. Do you guys know that they were able to pay her way less because of that? Because it was, oh, well, if we give you a percentage of your own franchise, then we don't have to give you a big upfront payment but then that meant that it was completely dependent on that actual location doing well. And if they got overrun by rats or burned down or had anything happen to them where they couldn't make money, then Megan was going to be fucked. And it's like, same thing with this Warner distribution deal, according to Spirit. It's like you thought that what you're getting is something amazing, but the truth is they just dressed it up and you're too, like, you know, you're not bright enough and not educated enough on how the game works to understand that they pulled the wool over your eyes, so to speak. This album is just gonna do the same as all of her other albums. It's just Spirit saying it's really the same thing as everything else, where it's just like Rock Nation will pay a couple blogs to post about it, and they'll try to make it seem like, wow, look it, Megan put out an album and everybody's so excited about it. You know, they repost those tweets and they're like, everybody is on Twitter talking about how amazing this new song is. And you're like, nobody's fucking talking about this song. Stop it. These are sponsored tweets and this is a sponsored post. It will get that. But when it comes down to it, it'll be the same shit as always, where it's just, okay, I guess Megan put out another album of a bunch more songs that sound exactly the same again. Which is why I said she must not be doing a good job if she's supposedly fucking Juju for those beats, because he's not trying very hard to actually make a decent beat to give her. She should have actually went to college instead of drinking and twerking. Listen, I bet you Kelsey probably understands how the record business works, and she probably would be able to tell you if that was a good deal that Megan signed or not. Because Kelsey pays attention and she reads. I don't think she'd be able to switch to her degree as a career because of what's out there online. Well, that's the thing that I was saying when, like, if the day that the truth really comes out about this girl, if she tried to go work in the medical industry with HIPAA, do you think any place is going to hire her? They're going to be like, oh, this is that girl that used to dance half naked on stage with her tongue hanging out that lied and got somebody else prosecuted for something that they didn't do. Let's please hire her and let her have access to all of our patients' very discreet, important information. No, the fuck they're not. They're not. Like, let's just be dead ass honest. So, well, guys, something explosive happens. This feels like it's as we get towards the end of the year, something that Megan never expected to take place. We got the Justice and the Judgment card with the Knight of Wands. Tori's getting out of fucking jail, and that's going to be real bad for her. Real bad. Also, it's so funny, when I first looked down at this card, it said karma across it, and then I blinked, and then it said the Knight of Wands. So Spirit was like, her karma is coming to get her. It's like, enjoy the first part of the year, because that's going to be the best part of your year, girl. And then everything starts to really fucking go downhill. So if she thinks that Partisan Fontaine and Nikki outing her for lying about lipo and sleeping around is bad, it's only going to get worse. Ugh. But this is the thing, Hannah. I don't think any of these duds do, because do you guys notice Coi Leray, Lotto, Megan, Glorilla, all of their songs all sound exactly the same. It's the same formula. Talk about your haters, say that you have the best coochie that ever existed. All these bitches want to be like you. You're going to steal their man. Their man bought you a Birkin. Like, it's the same bullshit over and over. It's like people forgot that you are allowed to make songs about other things. Like, seriously? I mean, it's like, what happened to making songs about marijuana? At least that was something different than coochie and haters. Like, what happened to I just want to go dance and have a good time? Like, there's so many other fucking things that you can, talk about. Do I want you to save this live? If you want to, Lindsay, do I need to for some reason? But it's just pathetic. And then on top of it, they have the entire nerve that most of the beats sound exactly the same. Like, really go listen to all of the songs that both Megan and Lotto have tried to release as singles, their own music, not their features on other people's stuff. You are going to see that the flow, the cadence, and the beats, as well as the lyrics, are literally recycled over and over and over and over and over again. There is nothing different about any of it. And that's why I said Juju on the beat, all he does is take the same beat and turn the drums up or down. Maybe add a little bell in the background or something to jazz it up. But it's like, I have never made a beat in my entire fucking life. You guys know that I am not into like being tech savvy and all of that shit. Somebody could sit me down and be like, here, and teach me how to use that software, and I could create something better than him and something different. I swear to God. Just give me 3 hours in GarageBand and we're good. So the thing is that, and then the sad thing about it is, these songs don't blow up. They're not doing anything for them. When's the last time that we cared that Glorilla put out a song? Who says turn that Coi Leray on? Nobody. If we wanted to listen to the same song over and over again, wouldn't we just go find that one song that you put out and play it on repeat instead? Like, if I want to listen to Starships by Nicki Minaj, I'm just going to go listen to Starships by Nicki Minaj. I don't want her to make me a whole fucking album of songs that all sound like Starships. Like, the fuck? So none of them get that. And it's like, if it's not selling, boo-boo, change it up. Do something different. We are motherfucking tired. Piss sounded like a complete clusterfuck sonically. Doo-doo on the beat. Oh my God. I don't understand why they sleep and pay for the same beats, right? Bring back the real artists for sure, Tina. It's got old. That's why I don't check for their music anymore. Exactly. Recently, I've been listening to music for production value alone. That's why Kanye, Tame Impala, and Frank Ocean are on repeat. Exactly. I mean, people can shit on Kanye all they want, but this is the thing about Kanye is that he actually, even if you don't like the song, Kanye actually at least fucking tries. Like, you have to give him credit for that. Like, he literally sits there and finds some obscure little part of some song from 1932, gets inspired, creates a whole beat around that. somebody to come in and sing the hook, you know, gets the song together. Like, he puts effort into it. He still has artistry that goes into his music. You don't, as much as people are always like, I want another graduation from Kanye, you have to appreciate the fact that Kanye didn't give us 20 graduations. And he could have. But that's also why Kanye can go years without putting out music. Do you guys know that Kanye was the #9 selling music artist last year? He hasn't put out an album in 2 years previously, and a bunch of people said that they didn't even like Donda and Donda 2. But that's what a real artist does. They don't have to put out jack shit, and they're still gonna chart, and they're still gonna make records, and they're still gonna sell. These girls put out a new single every other week, and they still can't find anything to hit or sell. Exactly. It's just the same flow all the fucking time. So many memories behind his catalog, right? Oh my God. And it's like, you can just listen to like 808s and Heartbreak if you want such a well-produced masterpiece. It's a very sad album, obviously, because he was going through a lot of shit, breaking up with his girlfriend and losing his mama and all that. But the songs from that era, like, oh, it's just my ears are just like, transported somewhere else when I listen to that album. Yeah, it reminds me of Stevie Wonder because they weren't afraid to try new sounds. Exactly. And please, show me one artist of this generation outside of Nicki that's going to give you a monster or a runaway. I will wait. None of them will ever create any masterpieces like that. And Kanye has a bunch of masterpieces like that. Also, though, people don't give Nicki the credit for, because everybody always talks about how she killed her verse on Monster and how she went up against all these like heavyweights. But they never mentioned that she did the same thing on Hello Good Morning off of that Dirty Money album that Diddy did. Because all the same heavyweights and more were on that song too. And that's honestly, to me, Rick Ross's best verses are on the Dirty Money album on that song and on Monster. But Nicki killed everybody on that one too. So, but anyways, let's move on to Eminem versus Coi Leray because my voice is probably going to go out and I have to struggle through a call after this too. So I got to make sure I have time to drink some tea in between. Her verse was everything. That was my favorite part. I love that song too. That actually was a good album. I can't stand Diddy, and I don't like most of his music. But that Dirty Money album, I have listened to that quite a bit, I have to admit. So Coi Leray versus Eminem. What were the questions that we have with this situation? Because I guess Eminem dragged her and her daddy. Well, I feel like that song in general, like for some reason, just didn't get like the shine that I guess maybe I thought it would have. Because like Rick Ross was on it, T.I. was on it. They did 2 different versions to add in everybody's verses on that song. And that's T.I. and Rick Ross did a really good job with their verses on that song too. Everybody did. So that's why, you know, I just thought like that song probably would have like gotten more recognition than it ultimately ended up doing. How does Eminem feel about Coi as a rapper? Why did I want to just bust out laughing right now when you said that? And I read that because that's exactly how I feel like Eminem feels about Coi as a rapper. Not to be mean or anything, but I will say, I think that Coi is a lot better of a rapper than most of these duds are. But I think that, you know, she let herself fall into that corniness and get caught up in so much shit that it kind of backfired on her. So, because let's be honest, I mean, if we were just going off of talent alone, Coi is obviously way better than Sexy Red. Well, I think everybody is better than Sexy Red. But I don't dislike Sexy Red. I'm just saying, you know, like, she ended up getting so much of the industry cosigns and attention and stuff that if it was really based off of talent, she wouldn't be getting that, and it would be somebody like Coi who did instead. This is funny. It's like Eminem feels like Coi's okay. It's like she's like, he really feels like she's good to be the TikTok rapper. Like, you're good for that. You're good for the TikTok raps. You're good for like the little 20. Like, he kind of sees her as like the same way that he used to see Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera back in the day. Like, you're a teeny bopper. Like, you're the teeny bopper of rap. But he also feels like she let way too many people gas her head up, whether it was her dad or the industry or, you know, listening to social media. And it's like, you're not what you think you are, boo-boo. Calm down. So it's just kind of like, if you stay in your place and make the most of the place that you're in, you'll do okay. But trying to cross over and be taken seriously with the big boys, you didn't earn that spot and you're probably never going to get it. So, like, chill out is the way that Spirit's saying he feels about her. So when Coi said she would never collaborate with Eminem, was that true? No. She just had to say that because of, you know, obviously the situation. But Spirit saying, please, especially if Eminem came to her on some fucking shit, especially like either two situations, right? One, if when she was going back and forth with her daddy, if Eminem had came along and said, hey, Coi, let's do a record together, she would have jumped all over that shit to make her dad shut the fuck up. And when she's in a good space with her daddy, if Eminem came and said, listen, it's all good between me and your dad, let's make a record together, she would have jumped all over that shit too. So, these girls all think that they're the second coming of Jesus Christ when it comes to rap. The only one of them that's like, I would say, well, there's a couple of them that I think that they're a little more realistic, right? As much as we can shit on JT for certain other things that she does, she's not entitled. Carisha is, Santana is, and isn't that the hilarious? Because they're the two untalented ones out of the group. But JT isn't super entitled. She sort of seems to understand, you know, like either, like this is the read that I always get on JT. I always get that JT understands that if she really wants what the industry has to offer, she's going to have to fully play the industry games and she doesn't want to. So it's like, I will do what I am comfortable with and I am okay with whatever that brings me. Like I'm not trying to be out here and be Beyonce and be compared to Michael Jackson. So I don't feel the need that I have to be at every fucking industry event and every bitch's face smiling and acting like we're besties and running around and, you know, doing all this other shit that Carisha's okay with doing because Carisha wants everything that she can get out of this. I'm okay with, you know, having certain things and saying no to other things. Ice Spice, she doesn't take herself too seriously and think that she is the world's greatest rapper and that she's gonna go down in history as, you know, some prolific, amazing artist that got crowned the queen of rap someday. She knows that. Like, she's fully admitted that in her interviews, that she's not trying to be the most lyrical and that she doesn't really care about that. And she just wants it to be fun little bops and that people don't have to sit there and try to figure out what the bar is, that they just get it the first time around because it's simple and in your face. And you have to respect that, you know, and the girls that are like that. But like Coi, Lotto, who else is like that? There's somebody else that's super entitled too. They really think because Megan is one of them, these girls really get on Shea Butter Twitter and believe the fucking hype that people give them just because, obviously, I mean, they don't see it, that it's like, people aren't hyping you up because they give a fuck about you as a person or an artist. They're just hyping you up because they want to gas you up to go fight with somebody because then they get to be entertained by the ensuing drama, right? So if Coi and Lotto are fighting with each other and it ends up on the blogs, we all get to laugh and be entertained by it, right? But those people are not buying your music and they don't really give a fuck about you as an artist, and they're not going to show up at your tour. They're not going to buy your merch. Like, they're not supporting you. And so Spirit's saying they just believe the words rather than actually looking at the numbers. Did you sell out that show? How many of those tickets were for you and how many of those tickets were because other people were performing because you were at a festival? How many people actually bought your last single? That's what they need to actually be paying attention to. But they're just jumping to the ego side of, well, Sally123 on X said that I'm her favorite rapper of all time, so that means that I'm the best rapper that ever lived. And that's what they focus on and choose to believe. And that's why they're all fucking entitled and delusional. And Coi is one of those. It's kind of disappointing that all the girls who have the talent to be great don't get the attention they deserve. But see, again, you can tell also who's willing to do all the industry stuff and who isn't. JT is not going to go have a freak off at a diddle bop party. But Mucus probably will. Lotto don't care. She sleeps with people's husbands. You know what I mean? Like, that's also that you can always tell who is willing to do anything and willing to do the nasty shit that people get canceled for later, and who isn't willing to do that. You know, Nikki, obviously, she's another one. She's not out there doing diddle bop freak offs. That's why the industry always fucking goes after her. So, and exactly, because when you see that these guys that are gatekeepers who then later on get exposed for doing such horrible things, they've always had young artists or young actresses around them, and people would always write it off as either that they were dating or that it was some sort of mentor relationship, or, oh, because he produced her album or he produced the movie that she was in. But then you find out that these people are trafficking everybody else. And it's like, so you really think that Weinstein wasn't trafficking any of those actresses that you would see him hanging all over on the red carpets? You think that Diddle Bob didn't traffic any of his artists? You think Camel isn't doing some of that too? Like, allegedly, we're just telling lies over here. We like to get on here and just make up stories and lie and laugh about it. Protect ourselves. We're not Tasha K. We're not trying to end up in a lawsuit. But that's what happens with a lot of them. And that's why some of these people get Grammys and get Oscars and get awards and get in positions, because they were willing to play the game and other people are not. And that's why when you say, oh my God, there's somebody so talented, but they keep getting looked over. No, it's because they just weren't willing to get on their knees and suck a bunch of dicks. That's why. They have some integrity. You should like them even more. So I kind of liked how Coi had that tomboy kid energy, but she never really leveled up. Exactly. And you know what somebody pointed out, and this is so true? Megan Thee Stallion has never leveled up as far as like her outfits and her wigs go. Like, yeah, she got better quality of them, but she didn't upgrade the look, if that makes sense. Like, just because you're not wearing $20 wrestling costumes, you know, but you're wearing a $400 wrestling costume. Like, the point was, stop wearing the fucking wrestling costume. It's not who made it and how much it cost. It's that you are supposed to be bigger than that. So you should have better outfits, better style, better everything, right? And so it's like people were just pointing out that she's just in more expensive versions of the same things that we saw her in the beginning. And they were like, you know, comparing it to Carlos, that as much as you want to hate on her in the beginning, yeah, she came out in the Fashion Nova outfits, but then as she blew up, you know, that's when we started seeing her wearing designer and going to fashion shows, and we haven't seen any of that from Megan. And that's the crazy thing too, because you would think Megan has a really perfect figure for like a designer to want to show off. She's tall. She has curves, but they're not too curvy, you know, so she doesn't have the big giant ant butt that's going to throw off some of the looks or not be able to fit into certain types of, you know, evening gowns or whatever. Like, clothes could fit her beautifully, because even with the lipo or without it, she has a very proportional body. And which you have to give her credit for, you know, as much as I don't like her, she is an attractive person. We're not going to lie on that. But they always give her things that don't fit her properly or look super cheap. You know, whenever I see her in some sort of like dress up dress, you know, like at a red carpet, it always looks like they went to the nearest Macy's clearance rack after winter formal and grabbed whatever dress that they thought was gonna fit her, and then ran back to the hotel and said, here, put this on. Like, it never seems like it was a planned in advance. We got Tom Ford or this Maison Margiela, you know, runway dress, and we're going to have it altered to you so that you show up looking amazing. It's always like cheap, tacky, shiny, looks very last minute put together. And again, you know, she's got a beautiful figure and she's tall. So they could be dressing her the motherfucking down. They could make her look so good and they don't. I wonder if Kylie and them said something to keep her from getting those opportunities. No, it's just because she doesn't have a good team around her. I mean, we were talking about that on the Patreon live last night, that it's like, I saw somewhere that somebody was saying at least Amber Heard like went to Spain for a couple years and lived overseas, and we didn't see her and she wasn't in our faces. So now if she wants to come back, you know, like she'll probably have more of a shot of it rather than if she had just immediately tried to start like working right after that trial ended, right? Because everybody was so over her and her dogs that shit the bed and all that stuff. So it's like Megan has the worst fucking team around her because they still tried to shove her in our faces while the trial was going on. Then they tried to rewrite history afterwards and act like she'd been in hiding and solitude because she was so traumatized that she wasn't able to leave her house for years after that happened. Like, we didn't all see her twerking on a yacht and in a club immediately after that happened. And it was just a damn mess. And so I think that she just has a team that doesn't have any real like insight into the future and the long lasting effects of anything that happens, or thinks about, if we take a step back right now, things will be better later on. If we actually dress her properly, that helps with the rehabbed image. If we do this, if we do that, they don't think like that. Google horse teeth and Google Megan's teeth. They look the same. I kid you not. Oh my God, Hannah. I'm going to be doing that. But anyways, guys, I have to go because my voice is just about to give out and I need to drink some tea and I have 2 calls I got to get through today. But I love you guys. We will be back next Tuesday. In the meantime, if you want to join us on Patreon, that is where we talk about all the Illuminati stuff. That is the only place that I take requests. All of these subjects were chosen by my patrons. You can go to patreon.com/psychicbellalove. If you want to book your own personal private reading, psychicbellalove.com. All my information will also be linked in the description box below. Oh, thank you. It's just, I was literally talking all weekend straight working, so my voice is just like, give it a rest, lady. But I'm not sick. I just talked too much, that's all. So anyways, guys, in the meantime, I love you. We have the 2/2 portal coming on February 2nd, 2024. So if you are on Patreon and you want to join the ritual, make sure you do so. If you want to do your own work, make sure you take advantage of that day because we are in an 8-year and that will be an 8th day in that 8-year. And all of that energy will be super spicy and powerful for good things. Manifesting, ancestor work, spiritual healing, all of the good stuff. So harness that energy, even if it's just saying a simple prayer, putting out a letter and a glass of water on your altar for your ancestors. Do something spiritual that day and take advantage of that energy since I won't see you before then. And in the meantime, your ancestors love you. I love you. And thank you for being here with me. And make sure you hit that like button on the way out and subscribe if you are not already. Bye, guys.